Hi everyone, my name is Adriana McKinnon. I head the logistics department at Park Street, and today we are diving into a topic that could have a significant impact on businesses and consumers: tariffs. Specifically, we are going to talk about the proposed imposition of a 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico. Yet the application of these tariffs would be very similar to any other tariff that we see in the future. Whether tariffs go into effect now or later, they have the potential to shake up the industry. So whether you are an importer or a business owner or just someone who likes to know about global trade, this video is for you. Let's break down what's at stake, what the potential impacts are, and how businesses can prepare for tariff changes. For US importers, a 25% tariff means that every product imported from Canada and Mexico would have an additional 25% ad valorem tacked onto the cost. For example, if your product is valued at $100,000, you're now looking at an additional $25,000 tariff that would drive from the commercial invoice issued by the producer. How is it applied? Number one, they would apply to tax-paid products that arrive on or after the implementation date. Two, they would apply to cases withdrawn from bond and the FTZ withdrawals for shipments that arrive on or after the implementation date. And number three, it is unclear if tariffs will be applied to withdrawals from bond and FTZ for shipments that arrived before the implementation date, and that will depend on how the declaration is written. However, it could happen. So how can businesses mitigate the impact? I've received many questions about diversifying sourcing. And while tariff engineering is an acceptable response to potential increases, it is important to consider the full scope of a product, including the denomination of origin and how that influences sales as well as the permissibility of it. So for example, tequila. Tequila has to be produced in Mexico. If it were to be imported to another country for production, it could no longer be tequila. Another consideration is CBMA. Bringing product in bulk and bottling it in the US, for instance, would affect the product's CBMA eligibility. If for any reason origin and tax cut eligibility are not influential factors, then considering bottling in the US could be an option. I say the US because it could be the safest option. Price and product adjustments are another focus, so analyzing profit margins and calculating what a cost increase would look like could be an option. This is to be done conservatively. There's still a great deal of uncertainty. However, you could still give the scenario some thought for future planning. Using free trade zones is another option. Free trade zones allow you to defer or even avoid paying tariffs, which can be a lifesaver. If you have the option to store goods in these zones, it might give you some breathing room to figure out the best way to move forward without having to pay any tariffs ahead. And what I'm referring to when I say avoiding the tariffs is under the possibility of the tariffs being canceled. And so at that particular time, when you remove the product from the FTZ, you would no longer be responsible for any tariff payment. Another option is working with producers. So speaking with your producers about locking in favorable rates or renegotiating contracts could be a good idea. After all, their commercial value is what is going to drive the tariff. This is a great time to strengthen relationships and explore ways to absorb the impact together. Early planning. The best time to prepare is now. If something happens, you'll be resilient. Reviewing your existing contracts and supply chains and starting to think about how these tariffs might impact your operations now is a good idea. Advocacy. It's crucial for businesses, especially in industries like wine and spirits, to make their voices heard. You may not be able to fight every tariff, but spreading the word about how tariffs on wine and spirits impact American businesses is something we can all get behind. And lastly, ongoing monitoring. Tariffs can change fast. Stay updated on announcements and any trade negotiations. Having a reliable source of information will help you stay on top of developments. To wrap things up, the key to navigating this tariff situation is risk management. By planning ahead, keeping an eye on supply chains, and being proactive about renegotiating contracts and adjusting your pricing, you can keep your business competitive and resilient. Sure, these tariffs might introduce some short-term costs and challenges, but with a strategic approach, you can turn them into an opportunity to adjust, adapt, and stay ahead of the curve. Thanks for watching.